That's tough. Muscle contracts. When muscle contracts, it pulls the end points closer. So that's, maybe pull the end point closer. Give me an example of that. How to make that body function. Anybody has? Yeah, like bicep curls.
Maintain posture.
That's also very important. Maintaining posture. We don't think of that necessarily. But if we don't have postural muscles holding us, we fall down. And you know where it's at? I just told a lady today, she's 72 and she's really active, still teaching. But she's a little like this, like many of us. You put a wheel here, a wheel here, and a wheel here. Good postures, they're aligned on top of one another. Poor postures, this. That's it. That's enough. Then you get pressure here, your head goes forward, you go back, gets all around it. Never mind. I don't know, I think I'm all checking you out. So posture is very, very important. This muscle, and this muscle, the glutes, the quads, and the calf muscles are all known as anti-gravity muscles. If they don't contract, this happens. You can't stand up. If you see old people, you give them a squatting test. Because if they cannot do this anymore, because these muscles are not there, it's over. Because they can't walk. I know, when you look at old people in rehab, there's a lot of that is just walking around, walking stairs. But if we are all like, all cocky of like, I don't need it. You need to walk to know how to do it, then the system ain't working that well. And you're old. You want to be 90, start walking. But that's, my pet peeve about that. But then it comes to muscle. The posture is important, but that anti-gravity muscle, I want to stress as many times as I can, because I think that's very, very important. Good. And nobody talked about the heat. What about the heat? Yes?
The heat is because then we're letting out the sweat, I guess. Is that what it is?
Well, the sweat's interesting. We sweat so the body can be cooled down. Because we'll learn next chapter that water has a high heat capacity. That means we have a long way from freezing to boiling. In Celsius, it's 100 degrees. That's why they measure Celsius like that. That's what they call a high heat capacity. Water can take up a lot of heat without getting to steam. So in the body, we can put all that heat in the water that we get when we're hot and overheating, and we sweat it out so it takes it away from the body. It evaporates out. So that's the opposite than the heat. But that's very good because we have to talk about that homeostasis. We'll talk about that soon. Shivering is that heat thing. So the muscle, if you do running around, if you do jogging, you get warm. A byproduct of a lot of chemical reactions in the body is heat. And muscle is like your old light bulb. It loses so much heat. But the body can use it. Like we shiver. We can do, jumping jacks. Stuff like that. Nerves are like wires that physically connect every part of your body with the brain. The brain coordinates body functions via electrical signals. So that's your electrical. So if you have you ever hit the funny bone? That's the electrical signal we're talking about. You felt that right there. I know. Thank God they don't all feel like that. You wouldn't be want to live. Does the brain send signals fast or slow? Oh, that's fast. Lightning speed.
Isn't it slower compared to the spine? Because for reflex action?
No. Because when you look at reflexes, that like the patellar reflex, that doesn't go to the brain. That stays down here. The speed is more determined on what kind of nerve is it. Like a pain nerve is very slow, but a proprioceptive, a nerve that shows you what's going on in space and all that kind of stuff, that's very fast. Because when you fall down, you're going to catch yourself. It's going to be very fast. So the reflex nerves are very, very fast. Yes. But the electricity stuff is fast. There's one faster system in the body, but we never talk about it in this context. But that's the fascial system. So when you step up a curve, if you ever done it, step up a curve and then you step down and you don't expect it and the whole jolt comes off, that's actually the speed of sound. Because that sound waves that come down through the fascial connections of the bones into the body, and everything gets contracted real fast. It's an intrinsic thing. But that's faster than nerves. And they're just starting medicine. Medicine's not there yet. In basic sciences, they just start bringing that back in. I mean, I got a book called The Grey's Anatomy, not the show. There's actually a book. That's why there is a name on the show, because Dr. Grey. No, I don't think Henry Grey. I don't think he was an MD. He was an anatomist and a surgical something. And he wrote that book in 1870 something. It's really interesting to read. But it has all the fascial connections in there. You can it tells you what's connected how. And by the 1930s, they took that stuff out of that book. So nerves are good. So nerves are fast because they're electrical. Glands secrete chemicals, hormones, that coordinate body functions as well, but they send it through the blood. And do you think that process is fast or slow in comparison? Slow. So we need to talk about this slow and fast a little bit. So you're on the freeway, you're driving down, and you're like, oh, la 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 la, some stupid ass cuts you off. You know how they drive these days? Yeah. Text drive. And first, you swerve out of the way, and then you curse, and then you get I didn't drink that much coffee. You get the jitters, if it's real bad, right? So the swerving out of the way and making sure you don't have a crash, that's the nerves doing things. That's fast. The jitters that shows up 30 seconds later or so, that's the endocrine system, the hormones talking. So that's first the chemicals need to go to the bloodstream, and then the chemicals need to find a cell that they can talk to and attach to, and then you start shaking. Because that's the reaction.
Adrenaline's pretty quick though.
Yeah, but it's still slower than the nerve. Absolutely. It's the way I can explain it. Otherwise,
Well, that was our survival, right?
Yeah,
For us to, run away from the bigger thing trying to kill us.
yeah, right, exactly. And so that when we talk about those systems, they both control the body. They both tell the body cells what to do. But one is more for a fast and short-living thing, like the nerve, swerving out, be done with it. The other one is more for sustained processes. Generally that's growth, digestion stuff, like the insulin, and the diabetes stuff. So that's more the hormonal. So when we require a process that it's okay to be slower, but needs to be quite a long time, that's what we use that for. Both systems, though, really at the end work with chemicals. Because the nerve is electrical from the beginning to the end of the nerve, and at that point it releases a chemical. And then the chemical decides what's happening. And actually the target of the chemical, where the chemical goes to, that's what decides what's happening. We're going to talk about that more. But in terms of who releases why, how they're released, there is a lot of hormones are released, like the insulin and the glucagon. But if the blood sugar goes up, you need to release it. So it catches that blood sugar going up. Okay, we need to release that. Some of them, like the growth hormone or the thyroid hormone, or stuff like that, that gets controlled by a gland in the brain, the pituitary gland. And then the pituitary gland sends a signal to those other glands, and you got to release that hormone. And then that gland is controlled by the brain, by the hypothalamus. And that's how we get the emotions tied into the physical. So we get into psychosomatic stuff, like when the psyche controls what's happening in the body function. That's why when you're always angry, you just gotta raise your blood pressure over time. Does that make sense? Blood, am I missing people? You guys understand what I'm talking about? Because you're all so quiet. I know I'm intimidating. Blood is a great medium to carry chemicals through pipes, which are blood vessels, and deliver them to all over the body. What organ pumps the blood around? Over there. What? The heart. Perfect. Now I know what this is. The cardiovascular system is not fully efficient in keeping the liquid in the pipes, the blood vessels. So they're leaking. Because they have to be leaking. If you bring the blood to the muscle where there is blood needed in the muscle because we need nutrients, and the nutrients are brought by the blood. Well, guess what? Those nutrients have to leak out, so they go into the cell. So when there's tissue fluid exchange, the blood vessels have to be leaky at that time. And you have a part that pumps all the blood around, but you don't have little pumps that pump the blood back into the vessels all over the place. And so you have different ways of picking up that fluid that is leaked. And one way you pick it up, which we'll learn in chemistry, is when you leave some larger molecules behind in the blood, they can suck the water back in. It's like, did you ever put salt on a tomato? Well, you should do it. That makes the tomato taste. But it extracts, you see, you like put a salt on, and all of a sudden these salt things become bigger and bigger, they attract water. So salt attracts water. Or pulls water, yeah. Other molecules do that, yeah, that is the way it goes. And other molecules do that too, like albumin is another molecule in the blood that does that. So we can use those molecules to pull liquid back in and suction it back into the vessels when it's squeezed out. So we got this heart does this hydrostatic pressure, it pushes it like a pump, so it forces it. But then the other way is called an osmotic pull. It pulls it, and there's an osmotic, they call it the osmotic pressure. And we learn about that in chemistry, in terms of, I think it's in chemistry. No, it's in the cell. It's in the cell. So that's there. And the system that does that is the lymphatic system. It's all over the body, and it just goes, picks up all the fluid and pumps it back into the artery. The thing we have with these also is we have lymph nodes. Have you gotten sick that often ever and feel like it hurts in you? That's a lymph nodes that blow up. So these are lymph nodes. We have a lot of red blood, vital blood cells, and the vital blood cells are fighters. They can help us, be healthy. They kill the sick stuff. They kill the bacteria and all the stuff that we don't like. And so when you got these things coming here, you kind of know that your immune system is a bit on hyperdrive. It will maybe be good to try to go to sleep and have a good night's rest and drink some water and maybe have a whiskey with it or something. But we pay attention that, okay, maybe I shouldn't go dancing all night tonight because I'm getting something here. I'm feeling it. And so that's an indication. Yeah, because the lymph nodes will swell up because they're fighting the body. They're fighting the invaders. The problem we have with the lymph nodes, though, it can also spread cancer. We actually get to this, huh? Our body needs molecules, form gases from the environment to survive. Oxygen is needed in the body to make energy, which is ATP. We call that in us. We'll learn about that on Monday. Where in the lungs does the gas exchange occur?
The gases exchanges occur through the walls of the alveoli of the lungs.
Oh, exactly. Alveoli. Well, the good thing about these terms, you can pronounce it the way you want. That's a very good thing. I mean, it is. If you actually learn English, it's really a cool language because the way things are written is often not the way things are pronounced. If you're a native speaker, you probably don't notice that. But if you have to sort of learn how to read, oh my God. But in these words, you can do it the way you want. So that's basically the job of the respiratory system, is to make sure we get enough oxygen in the blood and then at the cell, and obviously then help make enough energy, make ATP. So oxygen is directly related to making energy.